Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. We've been getting a ton of messages from you about SpaceX, their wild Starship program, and all this buzz about colonizing Mars.
It certainly got everyone talking.
And, our listeners, they get it. They're fascinated by the same things we are. Like, how do we actually become a multi-planetary species?
Yeah.
And what are the real challenges of making something like that happen?
Well, the biggest thing everyone's buzzing about is reusability. That's the key to unlocking affordable space travel, and that's what's got everyone so excited about Starship.
Yeah, it's like imagine building a jumbo jet, flying it once, and then just, tossing it out. That's essentially what we've been doing with rockets until now.
Exactly. And Starship, it's not just reusable, it's paired with this super heady booster. This thing is a beast. We're talking more powerful than the Saturn V that took us to the moon.
It's mind-blowing. It really is. And speaking of mind-blowing, did you see that footage of the recent Starship test?
You mean with the Mechazilla arms?
Yeah, the giant chopsticks. They actually caught that super heavy booster as it came back from space.
I know, right? Catching a rocket falling from space. That's some next level stuff. But this isn't just for show. It's a huge step toward making reusability a reality.
Okay, so less sci-fi, more like the future of space travel unfolding before our eyes.
Exactly. Think quicker turnarounds, way cheaper launches. And it's not just talk either. NASA's got their eye on Starship. They picked it to be the lunar lander for the Artemis 3 mission.
Which, for anyone who missed that memo, is aiming to put astronauts back on the moon by 2026. This is huge.
It really shows how fast SpaceX is moving, pushing the boundaries. A few years ago, it was those early test flights. Now they're catching rocket boosters in midair. It's incredible.
And this is all just the first step, right? Because SpaceX, their ultimate goal is Mars.
Right. They're aiming to send over 100 people and metric tons of cargo to Mars on each Starship.
I mean, Martian pizza parties, here we come, right?
Huh. Well, maybe someday, but it's going to be anything but easy.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Mars, it's not exactly a walk in the park. Think thin atmosphere, temperatures that make Antarctica feel balmy, and enough radiation to make you want to wear a lead suit.
Yikes, maybe skip the picnic blanket then. Seriously, though, what would it take to actually live on Mars?
We're talking serious innovation, sustainable life support that's light years ahead of anything we have now, radiation shielding that actually works, and we got to figure out how to grow food in that Martian dirt.
Okay, so maybe not as simple as packing your bags. So life on Mars, huh? Sounds like we're going to need a bigger toolbox.
We're going to need a whole new way of thinking. It's about pushing boundaries, like with this whole concept of ISRU.
ISRU. Okay, now you're just using acronyms to sound cool. What is that?
Basically, using what Mars already has. Think about it. Martian ice, that could be rocket fuel. We wouldn't have to haul it all the way from Earth.
Ah, so like a cosmic pit stop.
Yeah.
Fuel up on Mars instead of packing for the whole round trip. Makes sense.
Exactly. And it's not just fuel. Martian soil, it has oxygen, iron. We could use those to make breathable air, even building materials.
Wow, so we're talking about literally building a Martian society from the ground up.
Yeah.
Using, the ground.
It's a wild concept, right? But even with ISRU, let's not sugarcoat it. Living on Mars, it's not going to be easy. For starters, that trip, 6 to 9 months each way, stuck in a spaceship, no popping out to the store for a gallon of milk.
Yeah, no kidding. I'd go stir crazy after a week.
Yeah.
But seriously, besides the snack cravings, what kind of toll does that take on a person? Physically, mentally?
Well, for one, you've got microgravity to deal with. Long-term exposure, that can lead to bone loss, muscle atrophy.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about that.
Yeah.
Not good for the whole astronaut physique.
And then there's the mental aspect. Being millions of miles from Earth, isolated with the same small group for months on end, that's going to do a number on even the most well-adjusted person.
Yeah, it takes a special kind of person to handle that kind of isolation, don't you think?
Absolutely. We're talking about a whole new breed of explorer. They'll need to be resilient, resourceful, ready to face anything that Mars throws at them.
Okay, so not your average camping trip. But in a way, that's part of the appeal, right? This idea of pushing boundaries, exploring the unknown.
It's the ultimate challenge, and that's what makes it so exciting. I mean, think about it. A few decades ago, catching a rocket with giant robot arms, that was science fiction.
And now look at us. We're talking about building homes on Mars. It's incredible how quickly things are changing.
It really is. But it's important to remember, this progress, it's built on a lot of trial and error. Even SpaceX, they've had their share of setbacks.
I was going to say, it can't all be smooth sailing, right?
Right. Remember those early Starship tests? The Starhopper, that thing looked like it was going to tip over every time it moved.
I vaguely remember those. Pretty sure I saw a meme comparing it to a bouncy castle.
Well, those tests, as goofy as they might have looked, they were crucial. Each one taught them something new. And then there were the high-altitude test flights. Not all of them stuck the landing, let's just say.
Right, there were a few. Unscheduled rapid disassemblies, weren't there?
Exactly. But with each flight, they got closer and closer. And then, boom, Flight 4, Starship reaches orbit. Both stages come back for a splashdown. A huge win.
That paved the way for Flight 5 and that incredible booster catch.
Exactly. And this all feeds back into Elon Musk's vision. He's not just talking about sending a few astronauts for a quick visit. He wants to build a permanent, self-sustaining city on Mars.
Okay, that's a bold goal. But can we actually pull that off? Is that even realistic?
Now, that is the million-dollar question, isn't it? And honestly, it's not just about the technology.
Okay, so let's say, just for argument's sake, that we figure out the whole getting to Mars thing and the not dying on Mars thing. Right. Then what? What happens once we're there? What kind of society do we build on a brand new planet?
We'd have this blank slate, this chance to rethink everything, how we govern ourselves, how we share resources, how we interact with the environment.
So a chance to hit the reset button on humanity. Start fresh.
In a way, yeah. We could create a society that reflects our ideals. Sustainability, equality, exploration. The possibilities are mind-boggling.
It's a nice thought. But let's be real. Building a new society, even on Mars, doesn't erase human nature, right? We're still going to have the same flaws, the same potential for conflict.
Of course, of course. We're not suddenly going to evolve into perfect beings just because we've landed on Mars. There will still be disagreements, power struggles, the challenges of building a just and equitable society. They don't magically disappear.
So it's more like a giant social experiment with incredibly high stakes.
Exactly, and that's what makes it so fascinating. It's about pushing ourselves to the limit, confronting not just the technical challenges, but the human ones too.
And realizing that going to Mars, it's not about escaping our problems. It's about learning from them. And maybe, just maybe, doing things a little better this time around.
Right, and think about the incredible things we could achieve. The scientific discoveries, the cultural exchange, people from all walks of life working together to build something new.
It's almost impossible to wrap your head around, you know? It's like taking everything we've ever learned about science, technology, human nature, and putting it to the ultimate test.
And who knows what we'll discover along the way. Because exploring space, it's not just about planting flags or running from a dying planet. It's about expanding our understanding of the universe and our place in it.
It's about embracing the unknown, pushing the limits of what's possible, daring to dream of a future where humanity isn't confined to just one planet.
And that brings us to an interesting question, don't you think? If you had the opportunity to be a part of this, to help shape the future of humanity on Mars, what role would you play?
That's something for everyone listening to think about. What unique skills, talents, or perspectives could you bring to this grand adventure? Because one thing's for sure, this journey to Mars, both literally and figuratively, it's going to take all of us.
It's a future worth reaching for.
It really is. And that wraps up our deep dive into SpaceX, Starship, and the incredible possibility of making Mars humanity's next home. It's a story that's still being written, and we can't wait to see what unfolds next. Thanks for joining us. Until next time, keep looking up.